Welcome to this episode of Junk Food on the Road. Today we are talking about
the CNE.
The Canadian National Exhibition.
Yeah, so we're going to talk specifically about the CNE. And I think we should focus on the CNE for this particular year as opposed to just talking about carnival food, because I'm actually going to have another episode of another podcast where I'm going to talk about like what makes good carnival food. So this is specifically CNE.
Okay. So I remember having bacon wrapped corn on the cob at the CNE once. Not this year.
No, we can talk about past years, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about bacon wrapped corn on the cob was it was very difficult to eat. Like you basically just ate the bacon and then ate the corn. So it was kind of disappointing for me, to be honest.
Was it?
A little bit.
Yeah, you had that, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we had deep fried Oreos that year too.
Yeah, we've had deep fried Oreos. We've had deep fried Twinkies.
We had deep fried butter once.
Deep fried butter, which is basically just a really buttery dough that's deep fried.
Yeah, well, I think what they do is they take a stick of butter and they batter it. And then in the deep frying, the butter just melts into it.
Yeah.
And
it's like extra buttery dough.
It's kind of neat.
It's kind of neat, but you know.
But it's,
Yeah.
It wasn't as expected.
Corn dogs always work at the CNE.
Corn dogs are a must-do at the CNE.
That's an interesting thing about corn dogs, because like corn dogs in a lot of places don't work, but for some reason in like a carnival CNE atmosphere they do.
And I have to say the corn dog makers at the CNE do a really good job. Like you feel like you're eating a nice big juicy wiener wrapped in like cornbread.
Yeah, I think it has to do with how fresh they make it, because it's not like a frozen one where it's been sitting in a fridge. So you kind of get that crunchiness on the outside, and the cornbread's kind of nice and fresh, like it was actually cooked recently, like as opposed to like when you get them reheated.
Yeah. And I love it with mustard. I see people putting ketchup on them too, and I'm thinking they're just so perfect with mustard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course the other must-do CNE treat is the Tiny Tom's Donuts.
Tiny Tom's Donuts. For those, I mean, I'm sure everybody has Tiny Donuts wherever you are at your state or local fair. But Tiny Tom's Donuts, there's a certain sort of love in Canada for them. I think they're exclusively just at fairs. For a while, there was a location in Ottawa.
I think there's one in Markham.
Is there? Like you can get it all the time?
The thing about Tiny Tom's Donuts is like you get the 4 different flavors. You can get plain, you can get chocolate, like powdered chocolate, powdered sugar, or cinnamon sugar, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot mix and match unless you get a dozen of each of those, in which case you get a small deal. But the thing about that is Tiny Tom Donuts are amazing. They're so good. But if you let them get cold, they're terrible.
And we should talk about like how they're made. Like when you go to a Tiny Tom's, you place the order, they start the machine that makes your donuts.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a bunch of bags.
There's usually a huge lineup, so it's like the machine just goes.
But there isn't like a pre-bagged amount. Like you're getting them within minutes of them being made.
Because you have to have them hot.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically they come out of the oil, go into the bag with and then the sugar or chocolate or whatever gets shaken up, and then they hand it to you.
If you get plain ones, do they shake them up just in an empty bag?
I don't think I've ever gotten plain ones.
I wonder if the plain ones. I mean,
I'm sure I have gotten plain ones.
I've never gotten a plain tip.
I'm pretty sure I have actually.
It feels like something that would be good dipped in coffee.
I don't think so. I think the nice thing about like they just so melt in your mouth just as they are. That.
What's your flavor of choice?
You know what? It changes every year.
Strange enough, of the 3 flavors, like we're going to exclude plain, but of the 3 flavors, chocolate's my least favorite. This is one of the few occasions where I would probably not go for chocolate.
Yeah, me too. I really like the cinnamon and I really like the powdered sugar.
Yeah.
Although I'm okay with the chocolate. Like I have been with friends and gotten all 4.
Yeah.
And so taken the deal or whatever, like 4 for the price of 3 or whatever it is.
Yeah. But I would never pick, like if I'm buying one bag, it'll never be chocolate.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on that. Not to say that I don't like the chocolate.
Yeah, but just the cinnamon sugar and the plain sugar is just so much better.
Yeah.
That it's, you know, and they're fun to watch being made. Like they have these little machines that squirt them out and flip them, and
Yeah, it's like a donut Rube Goldberg machine.
exactly. Yeah, so it's
cool.
like you get a bit of a show with that too. I'm trying to.
But you got to get them when you first arrive in the morning, or else you're going to be waiting for 45 minutes in a lineup.
Yeah, yeah. So it's breakfast. It's a good breakfast item.
It's your breakfast of champions.
Breakfast of this. So the thing about the CNE too is, which I don't know if we said is a Canadian National Exhibition. Did you say that?
I did say that.
But they have a building called the Food Building, which is all just stalls.
And it literally, like, above the big gigantic doors into it, just says food.
Yeah, and it has, it's like a food court, but there are a few sort of mainstream restaurants there. Like there's a Harvey's and
Swiss Chalet
and everything. But then there's all these like smaller ones too. I always wondered about the Food Building. Like, did those restaurants stay there all the time?
Yeah, I don't think so. They wouldn't do any business.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I think
weird.
they just come in for the X. And it's changed over the years too. Like when I was a kid, you always like went to the Shopsies and got a hot dog, but Shopsies isn't there anymore.
And I remember for a while the big thing was a cheap bowl of pasta.
Oh yeah, 99-cent pasta.
Although this year apparently it's $1.99. Inflation.
Jeez.
So that doesn't exist anymore. But I always find it's interesting to go through. I find that the food there is very expensive.
Very.
You know, kind of smallish. And there's a lot of sort of what people call stunt food. Like this year, apparently there was the donuts with pulled pork on it, like a donut sandwich.
Oh, yeah, like pulled pork in between two donuts.
So the weird thing about it is apparently they have not only have that, but they have the pulled pork donut, which kind of makes sense to me because you're dealing with a sweet barbecue sauce. Barbecue, like chicken and waffles works. Like I could see pulled pork and sort of as a waffle working too. So I could see that. But a burger and a donut sounds just awful.
Yeah.
So I couldn't quite. And they were Krispy Kreme donuts apparently. So.
Yeah.
Which, oddly enough, I'm a big fan of Krispy Kreme donuts. I don't think they would work as well in that context because Krispy Kreme donuts are very fragile.
Yeah.
And I feel like a good Tim Hortons cakey donut would be so much better.
Maybe.
You know? Actually,
I don't know how the textures would mix.
I think a waffle and pulled pork would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think a waffle would be the way to go.
So, but, you know.
I think somebody was selling a chicken and waffle.
Yeah, chicken and waffles are.
That's pretty stock.
That's standard.
Stock,
yeah, that's a southern
US thing. And
then
there was I heard this year they had mustard and ketchup flavored ice cream.
$12.
For $12.
Not for both, for one.
Yeah, and like just not a tiny scoop, but.
Well, it's like a soft serve.
Like, yeah.
So it's like an average soft serve cone for like $12. So I gotta say, you know.
You would have I would not spend $12 on ice cream that I might end up hating.
Yeah. It's it's too bad. Too bad.
I don't think I would spend $12 on ice cream I might end up loving.
Yeah. I'd have to have a pretty good guarantee that it's the best ice cream I've ever had.
Yeah.
And, you know, even then, because I know the best ice cream I can get for cheaper because I don't have to go to the CNE and spend. That falls under the stunt food, though. That's like one of those things where I don't think anybody making mustard flavored ice cream is thinking this is going to be someone's favorite flavor.
Oh, but speaking about ice cream, the waffle ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah, they're a classic.
They are a classic. Like there's like the classic, like the candy apples and the cotton candy and the.
Cotton candy, yeah.
But like. You see those at like every fair though, but the waffle sandwich, like the ice cream, like the brick of ice cream, you know, between two waffles, I don't think I've ever seen that anywhere else.
I've seen that in other state fairs and stuff.
Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
But maybe I just haven't noticed.
But it's definitely what's your go-to when you go to the CNE?
Mhm.
I'm always disappointed.
I always have. Well, I don't always have the waffle ice cream sandwich. I'll give you that. But I always get Tiny Tom's donuts and I always get a corn dog.
I don't think I have a regular thing that I get at the CNE. I'm always sort of just I mean, I do now because I go with you. So I just get whatever, you know. That's the other thing. I think we've probably talked about this in other podcasts, but one of our tricks for this sort of thing, and we do this at Disney parks too, is the halving. So each get, you know, like just get a corn dog and split it so that way you can get something else as well.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of the nice thing about being married.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the great advantages.
It's the nice thing.
It's the nice thing.
It's one of the nice things about being married.
Yeah, so we often do that when we do this sort of thing. We do the halvesies. So I feel like
at Disney in the US, I know I'm getting off topic, it's like we go with the halvesies and we're done.
Yeah, it's because the portions are so big.
Yeah.
The portions at the CNE aren't often that big.
No.
Which is kind of weird. Because you kind of expect carnival food, like you think it's something, you're eating a bunch of greasy food, but really when you get it, you sort of get a little bit of greasy food. And you just eat a lot of little portions of greasy food. Like when you get Oreos, you get just 2 cookies. When you get like Twinkies, you get a Twinkie. Like when you get Twix, deep fried Twix, you get like a Twix bar, not both of them.
Yeah. Deep fried Twinkies. I tried them.
Yeah, it didn't work.
They're really hard to cut open, like, because they get all chewy on the outside, I guess all the extra sugar. And then the filling just sort of disappears and makes the cake taste
wet.
Raw.
And wet. It just tastes like wet dough.
Yeah, it tastes like cake batter.
That's just deep fried. I like that carnivals and the CNE have like new deep fried things, and it's always fun to try. But I don't, but they don't always work. But I always feel like they fit there. But there's certain things that I'm like, I feel like don't fit in a carnival the same way.
Well, a deep fried Twinkie kind of does, because deep fried everything fits in a
deep fried anything fits in a
carnival. It just didn't work.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm okay with it like not working. Because that's sort of what you do is you go there and you try it. But I feel like some of the other food, like the ketchup and mustard ice cream, is really more not carnival-y.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a thing now where carnivals just have weird foods. But
I think the deep fried butter thing started that. Or maybe
so.
The deep fried Mars bars.
There's deep fried Kool-Aid. Well, deep fried Mars bars were the first.
Yeah. That was from Scotland.
That came from Scotland. But then I think eventually they just sort of went crazy with other deep fried stuff. And, you know, deep fried pickles, which turned out to be good. I love a good deep fried pickle.
Yeah.
That's sort of become mainstream. Like you can go to a lot of bars and pubs and find deep fried pickles nowadays.
Yeah.
So.
And they're pretty good.
I believe that would.
I've had bad deep fried pickles, but I've had more good ones than bad.
Yeah. I wonder if the onion ring was invented in a carnival.
I wonder.
The blooming onion.
The blooming onion was invented at CNE. Somebody told me that. No, is that not true?
I don't think so.
The first time I ever saw a blooming onion was in the market.
In Ottawa.
In Ottawa, the Byward Market. So I can't say for sure, but I heard from someone that the blooming onion was actually invented at the CNE.
I mean, that might be true, but that sounds doubtful because blooming onions in the States have been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of chain restaurants that like are known for blooming onions. So unless they...
So I shouldn't listen to random strangers about these things?
No, there's our lesson for the day. I mean, it could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, and it is from the CNE, but that seems unlikely.
Okay. I would buy that it's unlikely.
Yeah. I mean, I generally don't get other stuff at the CNE, like cotton candy or anything like that.
You can get it anywhere.
Popcorn is the biggest ripoff at a carnival.
Oh my God, yes.
It's like $8 and you get like a bag of popcorn that probably costs them like 30 cents.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand the love of it.
Captive audience.
Yeah, yeah. When I was a kid, one of my fondest memories, and one of the things I used to do as a kid, which I don't think exists anymore because the CNE's kind of changed. But when I was a kid, it used to be that all the different regions would have sort of talk about the food that they get, and they would sometimes even have examples of food you could buy.
I remember those.
And one of my favorite...
I don't think they do that anymore.
PEI used to do potatoes.
Oh, nice.
And they had like a truck that used to make baked potatoes. And every year I would get it. One of my favorite ways to get it would be they do a baked potato and then they put cheese soup on top of it.
Oh, yum.
And it was so good. And I would look forward to that all the time at the CNE is the cheese soup baked potato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have any cheese soup baked potato, but I remember that you could like sort of sample international foods.
They're not even international, like Canadian.
Or like, yeah, regional whatever.
Regional foods from Canada, yeah. And they sort of got rid of that. Maybe at the Royal Winter Fair.
Maybe.
That might be more of the thing to do there, so. But, yeah, I mean, I think the CNE's fun. I think you can get some cool snacks. You can definitely you know, I've only been to a couple of state fairs and stuff like that, so I don't really know how it, there's some big state fairs out there in the U.S. that are apparently quite good for food. So maybe someday we can try and check out a couple of those.
Yeah.
But
someday.
Yeah, someday. But for now, the CNE is.
I went to the strawberry festival in Florida once, and they had amazing strawberry shortcake.
I went to a strawberry festival in Portage La Prairie. It was very good. So I like that kind of stuff. Festival food is fun. So is there anything else you want to talk about with the CNE? A good way to get rid of your food you eat is to go on the zipper and get the spinny one.
Yeah. Well, there's also like the food trucks.
Yeah.
They're fun, which is where you got your bacon wrapped corn on the cob.
Yeah.
Where I think I was probably having pulled pork at the time.
Yeah. I find tacos are quite popular nowadays too.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, they have like different food truck things going on.
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Well.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Junk Food on the Road, where we talked about CNE food.
Canadian National Exhibition.
There you go.
In Toronto.
As always, you can follow us on Twitter @CandyCritic, or go to candycritic.org and find links to all the other social media, including Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of fun stuff.
Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok.
Oh, wow.
You can find a link for it on Candy Critic.
I didn't know that.
Yep. We're not on TikTok right now, but I do make TikTok videos. You can also go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/candycritic, and there you can get all kinds of bonus content, fun stuff. You get all these podcasts and everything a week in advance before everybody else. Also, you can check out my books, Snack Facts and Treats and Beasts, which are available on Candy Critic as well. So pick them up and have a fun little read. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.